Quo Vadis, written by Polish author Henryk Sienkiewicz in 1896, is a historical novel set in ancient Rome during Emperor Nero's reign, 54 to 68 AD. The title is a Latin phrase, meaning, "Where are you going?" and refers to a Christian tradition involving Saint Peter. Rome, an empire at the height of its power, but crumbling under the weight of its moral decay. It is the reign of Emperor Nero, a time of artistic excess, brutal persecution, and the clash between an emerging faith and the old gods of Rome. This is the setting of Henryk Sienkiewicz's epic novel, Quo Vadis. The story begins with Marcus Vinicius, a proud and ambitious Roman patrician and military officer, returning to Rome after a campaign in Asia Minor. While recuperating from his wounds, Marcus stays with his uncle, Petronius, a witty and influential advisor to Emperor Nero. During his stay, Marcus encounters Lygia, a beautiful young woman, who was raised in a noble Roman household, but is technically a hostage of Rome. Lygia, whose real name is Kalina, is the daughter of a barbarian king of the Lygians, a tribe outside the Roman Empire. Although considered a hostage, she has been treated as a family member by her adoptive parents, Aulus Plautius and Pomponia Graecina. Unknown to Marcus, Lygia is a devout Christian, a member of the fledgling and persecuted sect that worships Jesus Christ. Marcus is immediately smitten with Lygia's beauty and purity. Despite his initial infatuation being based on lust, his feelings deepen as the story progresses. However, when Marcus expresses his desire to make Lygia his mistress, she firmly rejects him, as her Christian faith forbids such relationships outside of marriage. Marcus, determined to claim Lygia, enlists the help of his influential uncle, Petronius. Through Nero's decree, Lygia is taken from her adoptive family and sent to Marcus' house. But her heart remains steadfast in her faith and values. With the help of her loyal servant Ursus, Lygia escapes, leaving Marcus furious and more determined than ever to find her. In his pursuit, Marcus is drawn into the hidden world of the Christians, a world unlike anything he has known, one of community, compassion, and an unshakable belief in a higher power. He meets the Apostle Peter, who challenges his beliefs and begins to awaken something deeper within him. He begins to question the decadence and cruelty of Roman society, especially as he witnesses the selfless love and courage of the Christians. Marcus' love for Lygia transforms from possessiveness to genuine affection and respect. He vows to win her heart not through force, but by proving himself worthy of her love. While Marcus searches for Lygia, Rome is plunged into chaos. The city is consumed by a catastrophic fire, which devastates much of the city. Nero, inspired by his theatrical fantasies, is rumored to have started the fire to create space for his grand palace, the Domus Aurea. As the city burns, Nero famously sings and plays the lyre, showcasing his detachment from the suffering of his people. To deflect blame, Nero accuses the Christians of starting the fire. This leads to a brutal wave of persecution, as Christians are rounded up, imprisoned, and executed in horrific ways. Lygia and her faithful servant Ursus are captured during the persecutions. Marcus is devastated by Lygia's capture and risks his own life to save her. During this period, he fully embraces the Christian faith, inspired by the courage and moral conviction of Lygia and her fellow Christians. Meanwhile, Nero stages in the Colosseum, where Christians are martyred for public entertainment. They are thrown to wild animals, burned alive, or crucified. These scenes, highlight the depravity of Nero's reign and the resilience of the Christians who face death with dignity and faith in eternal life. Lygia is tied to a stake, and a raging bull is released to trample her. But Ursus, her loyal servant, steps forward. With his bare hands, he wrestles the bull, killing it and saving Lygia. The spectacle stirs the crowd, who demand mercy for Ursus and Lygia. Even Nero, fearing a public uprising, spares them. Marcus, now fully transformed by his love for Lygia and the teachings of Christianity, pledges to protect her and join her faith. As Rome suffers under Nero's tyranny, his closest allies, including Petronius, begin to abandon him. Petronius, ever the satirist, writes a scathing farewell letter to Nero, before taking his own life, choosing dignity over disgrace. The emperor's madness grows, and he loses the support of the Senate, the army, and the people. Finally, Nero meets his end, declaring, "What an artist dies in me," as he takes his own life. The Julio-Claudian dynasty collapses with his death, and a new era begins. Marcus and Lygia, now free, marry and leave Rome to live a peaceful life in the countryside, far from the corruption of the imperial city. They dedicate their lives to their Christian faith, embodying the virtues of love, humility, and forgiveness. Meanwhile, the Apostle Peter, fleeing Rome, has a vision of Christ, walking toward the city. He asks, "Quo Vadis, Domini?" "Where are you going, Lord?" Christ replies, "To Rome, to be crucified again." This inspires Peter to return to the city and face his death. This novel earned Henryk Sienkiewicz international acclaim, and contributed to his receiving the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1905. Its universal themes and compelling narrative have made it a timeless classic. The novel has been adapted into numerous films, including the 1951 Hollywood epic, starring Robert Taylor and Deborah Kerr, which brought its story to a global audience. Thus, Quo Vadis is a tale of love, faith, and sacrifice, set against the backdrop of one of history's darkest times. It is a reminder that even in the face of persecution, the light of hope and redemption can shine through. This novel earned Henryk Sienkiewicz international acclaim, and contributed to his receiving the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1905. Its universal themes and compelling narrative have made it a timeless classic. The novel has been adapted into numerous films, including the 1951 Hollywood epic starring Robert Taylor and Deborah Kerr, which brought its story to a global audience. Thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed the retelling of the novel, Quo Vadis, by Henryk Sienkiewicz. So, stay tuned to our channel for more literary tales. Also, those who have not subscribed yet, do not forget to click the subscribe button.